Once again, I'm here at the best drill press in town. That was another little short. You can look it up if you want, but we won't mention what it's about. We'll leave you in suspense on that one. This is about clothing safety. A lot of people are talking about, oh, that's fairly tight until I pull a snap loose, but my loose sleeves. When I first started working in machine shop, yeah, we had to have short sleeves. And I think there's some serious advantage to that and a lot of rules that you start with from an instructor standpoint. You are instructing 40 young men at one time, wanting to keep them in the best condition possible. Anything that might be away from their skin, which has to be there, is more of a potential for them to get it caught in the machine. So when I went to my first job where I was running turret lathes, I was a little concerned about this thing, which pretty much everybody figures is safe, called a machinist's apron. Tied around my waist, hung down 1.5 feet, had this loose floppy piece that could go behind you, and I could see that wrapping up in some of the drive shafts on the machine. So I put my mind in an extra careful mode while using that, because I could see the loose pieces in it. Even though they weren't loose on my arms, I could see loose material. So I became aware of it, and I was extra careful in what I was doing. So I became familiar with that, and then I was wearing coveralls in some of the other shops that I was at, and I would always cut the sleeves off. And sometimes I'd get burnt by chips, little things going on, but I didn't think too much of it until I came to work at my second job in Alaska. I was running this drill press right here, actually. We were taking chamfers. We were cutting big chamfers on some punch plate so that the punch plate could be turned over, and you have it this way so the rocks that come in here will either go out or fall off. If you don't have a chamfer on it, well, it wears out and it gets a bigger and bigger hole, but if you don't have it chamfered, then rocks will get stuck in the hole, and then it doesn't allow material to go through anymore. They make punch plate, but chamfered punch plate, you have to make that in a machine shop. It's more expensive, but a lot of the real miners used to do that. Some of the real miners today may still do it somehow, or maybe they're producing it. I don't know. I haven't seen it as a standard punched item anyway. And we made the punch plate too. We actually punched the plate there also, but I wasn't involved with that. Anyway, we were taking heavy cuts on some big holes. Chips were flying at me. Wasn't so much my sleeves, but my hands were just, no matter what I did running this, there were things flying at me. My hands were starting to get burnt. I'd have chips that would be as I'm trying to reposition the plate. It was just nasty. So I sheepishly asked my machinist boss, Lee Bishop, who had good 20 years experience, where I'm 20 years old at this time. And I asked him if I could wear gloves running this drill press. And he said, huh? What? Everybody wears gloves in here. So at that point, I had an awakening. It kind of depends on what your experiences are around you, what you're doing. If you, as I always wear the longer sleeve, I have a little bit, it's sticking out there an inch. So I keep my area of my arm away from things by an inch or two extra. You make up for it. You use your brain. Your biggest safety device you have is your brain. You use it. When I was doing which is on another one of our videos, I was doing some machine work at 40 below. When I was doing that machine work, I wore Arctic gear. And on top of this floppy Arctic gear, I had a parka that was even more floppy. I didn't have one to show right now, and I was wearing bunny boots because I was in the Arctic. The cold was a much bigger problem than whether or not I was going to get wrapped up in a shaft on a line boring machine. And again, I could make sure I was a good foot away from it before I engaged the drive. You just slow down a little bit, you use your brain to select the appropriate, safe clothing. Now, if I was going to stand out in the rain, would I be out here without a rain jacket or an umbrella? Only if I was making a video.